All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're here in sunny Vegas. It's a little warm,
Just a little bit.
just a little bit.
Not too hot, though.
Not too hot. Yeah, it's been hotter, right?
It has been.
I think it's like been in the low hundreds. It's like spring or something.
I just
don't
flew
know.
in yesterday. It feels hot. It feels hot.
Well, here we are. We are sponsored by Walnut Street Hospitality Group. The name of this podcast is called Who Closed Last Night? I'm Stan,
I'm Zach.
and we have a special guest on today, and you are?
Christopher Campbell.
Christopher Campbell. All right. So, what we like to do is we'd like to talk about some of the things that have happened or are happening in our business world, and hopefully give you a message, maybe help you get through some tough times, or just tell you about other options out there to grow your business or your leadership skills or whatever that may be. And one of the things that we always got to do at the very beginning is tell you how to get a hold of us and support us.
That's absolutely correct. And that is why you got me. So, before we move any further, go ahead and like, then share, leave us a comment. Good, bad, your opinion, whatever. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love to discuss it on a coming show. So before we move on, stop what you're doing, follow, like, share. Find us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. That's going to be the same on TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. You can look us up on Facebook at Who Closed Last Night. You can listen to us on Spotify and watch us on YouTube at Who Closed Last Night Podcast. And finally, you can send us your Who Closed Last Night story. You know, that thing that you told your boss you would never tell if he didn't write you up. But, you don't even work there anymore, so you might as well share it with us. Go ahead and send that to whoclosedlastnightpod, Pod, @gmail.com.
All right. So, as I said earlier, we have a guest, and today we're going to talk about one of the ways to be able to grow your business. And I think people think that they got to open 100 locations themselves, and I think one of the ways to get to 100 locations without having to worry about staffing 100 locations is to franchise your business, license or franchise your business. So today we have Christopher Campbell on. Welcome,
Love talking
Christopher.
about Konos and franchising, so it's great to be here. Thanks.
Well, first of all, let's do this. Tell us about who you are. Tell us about your current position, what you do, and that 5-cent career history tour.
Sure. Well, my name's Christopher Campbell. I'm the franchise director at Konos North Shore. And I grew up in the restaurant business, so I've been around hospitality my whole life. My father owned 13 restaurants in Glendale, California, Pasadena, La Cañada. This is Southern California.
Wow.
So I grew up around hospitality, and that's busboy and serving and bar backing and bartending, and then assistant manager and general manager. And hospitality has just been in my bones from day one. I was fortunate to be around Pasadena when Jamba Juice opened their very first store, one of 3.
That's kind of showing your age.
It was, we won't say the year, but I was there. And I was a marathon runner at the time, so the brand, the smoothie, everything spoke to me.
Okay.
And I left my father's company and went into corporate America and learned a lot about brands and how they would grow from 5 to 15 and from 15 to 20, 25, and then how to get to 100. And not only was I given opportunities on how that was, but I was unfettered access to the leadership that were guiding these brands, and I learned a lot from them.
Well, I have to interrupt you here just for a second. So you left your father's company to go to Jamba Juice.
Jamba Juice.
And what did your father say?
Well, we've had a lot of conversation about it. And one of the things that he always pushed me to go out and look, but I never really wanted to leave because you're in a pretty cool environment when you grow up around restaurants, and now you're in making decisions on how to operate and impact profitability and all that good stuff that goes in when you're running a business. But I saw, being an entrepreneur at the time myself and having some vision, I saw the vision of this brand. And it spoke to me. I saw the lines out the door. And I said, I want to be on the ground level here. And that really was the first experience in emerging brand situation. And I just thrived in it. They gave me ownership and empowerment like it was my own. The culture was fiber, which is fun, integrity, balance, empowerment, and respect. And those are all words that I could embrace and get behind if I wasn't already acting in alignment.
Right.
So that was the journey on going into some other brands. And then about 15 years ago, I started my own restaurant company here in Las Vegas and sold that after 3 years and started a brittle company. Been doing that for the last 8 years. And then looked for a new challenge. And that's where Konos and I have intersected, and it's been a fantastic choice on my end as a career path. And I can't wait to share a little bit more about Konos and the opportunities for other entrepreneurs who want to open their own business.
So, I mean, you went mostly operational, from being operational to now a development role, a sales role, however you want to describe that. What are some of the things that you feel like you had to change in your mind mentally to go from operations to development?
Sure. Well, the franchise and corporate world, although very much in alignment and aligned, operate far different. A franchise, a corporate world is very much a centralized support center where all of the synergy of operating the brand, marketing the brand, leadership synergizes from there. And then it goes out into the operation teams, the regional teams, down to the area manager teams, down to the GMs, the shift managers, and it makes it happen in the stores. In the franchise world, it's a franchisor-franchisee relationship that has certain regulations and rules that you have to follow. So when we sell a business when we offer a franchise to a franchisee who wants to open a business, we're actually recruiting somebody. We're not selling anything. We're helping someone with their whys, with their reason. For whatever reason, they see the brand equity and they see the ability of a Konos to open in their city, and they can't do it themselves. A lot of people have an ability to want to be an entrepreneur, but just don't know how to do it, and that's where franchising comes in.
So I know in your operational area, culture is really big in the restaurants. How do you, like from a cultural standpoint and selling the cultural, or not selling, but partnering with the right cultural, I guess, like-minded cultural people, what's important to you as he would be developing your franchises?
That's a great question. Thank you. I think that the first thing, and I think Christopher spoke to it, was they have to have their whys, right? Their whys have to be strong enough to force them to persevere through the storms, right? Because any business leader, business owner knows that, the sunshine's great, but it's not always out.
Right.
Right. And I think that from a cultural standpoint, that's probably the number one thing I think we would look for from a franchisee, the leader of it, right? But other than that, reliability, they've got to have probably some charisma too to lead people. And I think that their energy has to match kind of the brand's image or energy, right? Extra aloha is important to Kono's North Shore.
Absolutely.
And I think that
The art of extra aloha and being able to deliver that, not everyone can do it. A lot of people
Absolutely.
can talk about guest service,
Yeah.
but when it truly comes to giving it,
do they have that spark of energy
Right.
that their team will feed off of?
Right.
That they can set that example for their team.
so it's
locally.
really not a sale. It's not a sale. It's a recruitment.
I like the way you
we
place
have
that.
the keys to the kingdom at Konos. We have an answer to someone's
Why?
why or reason or why they want to change. Their change from working for a horrible company or wanting to get out of their cubicle, or they know that they put 10 to 12 hours in and they just got overlooked in a promotion. When you own your own business, you're in full control of all of that.
So, I guess why would a company, other than growth, which is an obvious reason, what are some other reasons that a company might want to offer franchises to their brand?
In our case, a restaurant company running a restaurant is a challenge. And we believe that with our system, we've taken a lot of that challenge out to simplify and operate. Within that is a culture that we help provide that franchisee.
I think one of the things that you spoke about earlier is wanting to be your own boss, but still having some handrails to grab onto,
Sure.
right?
And that's one of the things that a franchisor provides a franchisee, not only with the logo, the operating system, and collecting fees from that relationship. The part that we will provide is ongoing support of
the roadmap.
exactly. We'll train you in a store. We'll show you exactly how to roll a bomber. We'll show you how to make a milkshake. We'll show you how to control your food cost and your labor cost and your expenses.
So basically what you're saying is, other than having the right why, and being there to be the franchisee and run that store, you don't have to have all the know-how and experience yourself. You can have the capital and the right why behind you, and you can be successful franchisee.
You two talked about it on a podcast not too long ago, grit and determination.
There you go.
Two items in a person's psyche and an entrepreneur's bag of tools that they're going to need in this
Absolutely.
in this journey.
I guess, and I think that determination, perseverance, grit, all of those things are important. And sometimes when I think about, when I've spoken to some people about a franchise, they kind of feel like, and they've never operated their own business before, and I think they forget that they still have to have those items to operate a business, whether it's a franchise or their own business that they started. You have to have a certain amount of grit, right? Resilience.
And entrepreneurs that have done that in the past, they can bring to the table a lot of understanding, the anxieties that you go through, the decisions like, is this going to be the right decision for me? I'm writing a check for a franchise fee, and we haven't even opened the doors yet.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, I think I can bring, and our team at Konos brings a lot of an ability to calm anyone's anxieties, because every one of us has been there.
Yeah, yeah. I know from your perspective, one of the things that you have experienced are people that say they want to run a business, they want to operate a business
That's right.
until they are operating the business, right? And then they realize, oh, I'm not just owning this. I have to do this. I got to work, right? I got to think.
There you go. I got to work. What do you mean? I'm the owner. Why do I have to
Right.
work? But I find the same relationship with people that want to be a general manager until they become the general manager, and then they get the phone call, and it's like so and so didn't show up. You need to come in. It's kind of the same as a franchisee. Like at the end of the day, you work for yourself. That might be more responsibility than your last role at working for a company, right? Because you're the buck stops with you, right? So someone called out, right, and you're busy. What are you going to do? Close the doors that evening?
Right.
Right? You're going to ruin your relationship with, what about all the regulars that come in on a Thursday evening because that's their time off?
But see, I will always bring it back
Yeah?
to the decision on why you're not at where you used to be anymore.
Yes, sir.
I agree. But do you think that people that take that step, everybody wants till they get, right? And then when they get, they're like, oh shit.
Now I'm in the thick of it.
Now I got to put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
I got to put my action where my mouth is. And that's sometimes hard.
And it will be hard. And running a business is not an easy thing.
Right.
Now, a franchise business that has 25 years of a history of growth, that's a little different. But no, I don't think true entrepreneurs are afraid of hard work. So again, that comes with recruiting the right people with their right whys.
That's right.
And as an emerging brand, those pioneer franchisees are going to be very important to us.
So I guess, and we kind of touched on this earlier, but the pros and cons, just give me a couple of them, of having a franchise business versus just going and starting your own.
Okay. When you start your own, there's no brand equity. There's no history. There's no recipes or operational systems to run the day-to-day operations. So if you're creative and you can do that, more power to you. However, to build long-term equity and give you some exit options, a franchise system is I think, a better choice. Specifically with us, we have 4 restaurants and a full service in Hawaii and 1 here in Las Vegas. So we have historical presence in the marketplace. And anyone who wants to come and visit any one of those locations can come see how they operate, et cetera.
That's a good point. And I think some other things going the franchisee route would be, or deciding to work with the franchise, there's a training program already built. There's a handbook that you don't have to build, as a entrepreneur that you didn't even realize until you got people asking you what the rules are, what the dress code is.
Right.
Hey, what's your vacation schedule, right? Like you said, recipes, site, understanding what site to put a restaurant at is important.
And you have leadership that you can call or email, to get answers. When you're
Yes.
your own guy, there's not a lot of support there
That's right. That's right.
to fall back on.
At one point in time, and this is why in some states the franchise laws can be so stringent. At one point in time, franchises were looked at a little bit as being like schemers, like almost like that multi-level marketing. You get in someone's downline and you just keep paying, pay. You never get anything out of it unless you're continuously building your downline. Sounds like I know something about that, but I've probably wasted a couple bucks trying some of that stuff. But
You didn't lose any money with Bernie Madoff.
no. That was a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
But In your mind, do you feel like franchising has outgrown that stigma of?
That's a great question, and although I haven't come across any of that dialogue with anybody yet, I can see in the past possibly where that could be. Every franchise that is licensed has an FDD, and there's
What is that
that's the franchise disclosure
document? Okay.
and that has 23 items that every franchise has to disclose to a potential franchisee. Some are very thick, some are very, but there's always the 23 items. And the big items that are most important is the item 7 and the item 19. 7 is how much is it going to cost to open? And item 19 is how much money I can make. Those are very regulated. If it's not in your FDD, there's nothing you can disclose to a potential franchisee. So, in the world, I don't know if I'd want the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, after me. Any commission with a federal in front of it is not a good thing, right? So, we're bound as franchisors by regulations, federal regulations, to have a registered FDD to offer. But each state also has different layers of regulation. Secondly, there's 5,000 franchises out there at the moment to choose from in all different marketplaces, spaces.
Yeah.
A lot of lawyers are watching for people unscrupulous business practices. There's a lot of podcasts and YouTube channels and franchise times, newsletters, and et cetera that can keep you abreast of all of that going on in the industry. And a franchisor wants to grow.
Yeah.
They don't want to have any litigation because it has to go into their FDD. So is there unscrupulous practices? Absolutely.
Just like any other business.
Just like any
I
other
guess.
business.
Yeah.
But then again, through the process of recruitment, when I give a potential franchisee their FDD, we have to wait 14 cool-off days so that they can review the document and have their attorney review it.
Gotcha.
So there's what I like is there's gates and places that keep that integrity intact. So it's funny. I just read in Franchise Times of a emerging brand who just got in trouble, and they call it they broke the cardinal rule of franchise.
That sounds bad already.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh.
And front page, it's a killer for them. It's because they're whoever represented them gave information that was not in their item 19. So
Gotcha.
They're opened up for a lot of trouble.
So, in other words, they disclosed unprovable information.
Or wrong information, just
Plain
inflated
wrong
information.
Gotcha. Okay. How difficult is it for a potential franchisee to actually become a franchisee?
How difficult is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's difficult at all. There has to be you want to open a business. That's the best thing about being here in America. I mean, we have
That's right.
we have that freedom to do that. There's a process. They're gonna meet with me. We're gonna get to know one another. The main things that we're gonna want to know is when, where, the ability to invest, and their whys, and that will be the catalyst on how we move forward through the process. I like to let people know it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to get through that process, and then about depending on your choice of location, is it a built out facility or do you have to build it out? then that all depends on when you actually get to open the doors and serve your first guest. About, we'll say, a 6 to 9 month period from start to finish.
Okay. So now do you have any other questions for Christopher? Because I got one final big one after.
No, but I will say I've learned some things. Thank you, Christopher.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. I love doing this.
So now we've loved having you on here. I've
Thank
learned
you.
a couple things. I think franchising is certainly a viable opportunity for growth from both sides, the franchisor and the franchisee.
It is.
But now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to turn the floor over to you for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Sell your franchise.
Oh, Konos, North Shore. Well, what I like to do is first off is close your eyes and think about that beachside cafe you went to
I'm there.
with family, and
Hear
you
the
walk in
waves.
and you get an aloha, the smells, the sounds, the energy. Right. That's what Konos provides. That's what Konos resonated with me. Konos has fantastic branding. I think our pig on a surfboard is memorable. Our made from scratch food is the expressions that I see on our guests' faces tell it all. Eyebrows going up and digging into the second bite. So we see that every day. Our menu can serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A lot of concepts can't do that. They hit lunch or dinner or breakfast and lunch, but they don't hit all 3 day parts. That's big when opening a business. It's a great brand story. We have a fantastic founder and VP that operate the businesses. I've been empowered to take ownership of the franchise piece of the business. And so we're very lean. We are very accessible, and we're very knowledgeable. I think that not only does the brand have a great story, but brand economics with opening from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, serving just incredible. Our 12-hour pulled pork is just amazing. We offer our milkshakes, 25 different flavors, and everything at Konos has a story. Whether it's the secret surf spots of our bombers, or the names of our milkshakes from our team members. So, excuse me. So we're an emerging brand. We are our brand economics, our store economics are fantastic, and we just think that with all of that going for us, we're poised and we're ready to grow.
Great. So if one of our wonderful listeners out there wants to do that, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach me at ChristopherC@KonosNorthshore.com. They can go to KonosInternational.com, and they can call the restaurant. They can go to our website and click on Own Your Own Konos. Put in your name and number and email, and I'll get in contact with you, and we'll start a conversation.
Sounds good. So, Zach, you know,
Is it that time?
it's that time.
All right. So, everybody, please help us. Stop what you're doing right now. Follow, like, and share. Smash that like button. Share it to your mom, your sister, your brother. I know I did. But ultimately, you can find us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. TikTok, it'd be the same, at whoclosedlastnight_. You can find us on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight. Watch us on Who Closed Last Night podcast on YouTube. That's what I do. And then listen to us on Spotify for, maybe if you don't want to see our faces. I think we're pretty good looking, but, there's an argument for the other side of that. And then share your stories with us. Let us share your stories with our audience, relate to you, laugh with you, hopefully not cry with you. but maybe it's tears of joy. But send us your Who Closed Last Night stories to whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com.
Very good. Very good. So one of the things, Christopher, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank
to join
you,
us. We
Dan.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you,
And,
Christopher.
We're going to ask you to join us in our one-word goodbye. And what's that one word? Aloha.